In this video, a son abandoned his poor mother, Era, not knowing she would become a millionaire. Subscribe to the channel, let's start the video.
Rahim lived with his mother, Anisa, in a small old house at the edge of their town. The house had peeling paint, broken windows, and a small garden where only a few flowers grew. The walls were thin, and the roof often leaked when it rained. Life was difficult for them, but Anisa never complained. She believed that happiness could come from love and hard work, not wealth. Anisa worked very hard every day. She cleaned other people's homes and sold snacks to neighbors. Early in the morning, she would wake up to prepare bread, sweet treats, and small meals. Then she would carry them on a tray and walk to the busy market. Her hands became rough and tired, but she smiled when she saw people enjoying her food. She always told Rahim, "Work is not easy, my son, but honesty and effort bring peace." Rahim, however, did not understand his mother's happiness. He wanted more. He wanted new clothes, a big house, and a life that looked impressive to others. He loved his mother, but he felt embarrassed when friends teased him about their small house or simple clothes. "Why can't we have a better life?" he asked Anisa one evening. She only smiled and said, "Patience, Rahim. Life has a way of rewarding hard work." Rahim did not feel patient. He felt restless. When he turned 18, Rahim decided to leave the town. He wanted a new life in the city. The city was full of lights, big buildings, and opportunities. Rahim promised his mother that he would visit soon and take care of her in the future. Anisa hugged him tightly and said, "I will wait for you, my son. Remember, wealth is good, but love is better." Rahim nodded but did not fully listen. His mind was already thinking about the excitement of the city. At first, life in the city was not easy. Rahim worked long hours in a small shop, cleaning and helping customers. He felt proud when he earned a little money. Soon, he made friends who wore fashionable clothes and talked about parties and expensive foods. Rahim enjoyed their company. He felt that he had finally entered the life he wanted. Weeks turned into months, and Rahim forgot his promise to visit his mother. His calls became shorter and then disappeared. Anisa called him several times, but he always said he was busy. Sometimes, she would sit by the window, looking at the dusty road leading to their home, hoping to see her son return. Her heart ached, but she did not scold him. She only whispered, "My son, I hope you are happy and safe." Despite her sadness, Anisa continued her work. She woke up early every day, preparing snacks and cleaning homes. Every coin she earned, she saved carefully. She thought about her future and the future of her son. "I will make a life where Rahim will see the value of love, honesty, and hard work," she said to herself. Her determination grew stronger every day. One morning, while selling snacks in the busy market, Anisa found a notebook lying on the street. The cover was torn, but the pages were full of ideas and recipes for new snacks. She read the notebook carefully and smiled. The notebook had instructions for a sweet that no one in her town had ever tasted. Anisa felt excited. She thought, "This could be my chance to create something special." Anisa went home and started working on the recipe. At first, her sweets did not taste right. They were too hard or too sweet, and some of the shapes broke. But she did not give up. She worked for hours experimenting with ingredients, tasting, and adjusting the recipe. Her hands were tired, her back hurt, but her heart was full of hope. She believed that if she worked hard, something good would happen. Days turned into weeks. Anisa's sweets slowly began to improve. People in the town noticed her new treats. Children ran to buy them after school, and neighbors recommended them to others. Small orders turned into bigger ones, and soon Anisa was selling more than she ever imagined. She used her earnings wisely, saving money to buy better ingredients and a small cart to sell her sweets. Meanwhile, Rahim lived in the city, enjoying his new life. He did not know that his mother was becoming successful. He thought she was still poor and struggling. He sometimes felt a small pang of guilt, but he pushed it away, thinking that she would be fine. Anisa never complained about Rahim's absence. She only worked harder and planned carefully. She kept a small room in their house organized, ready for the day her son would return. She believed that love, patience, and effort could change lives, and she was determined to prove it. Little did Rahim know, the mother he had abandoned was slowly building a life that could make her a millionaire. The notebook she had found, her determination, and her honest work were planting seeds of success that would one day surprise him in a way he could never imagine. Anissa looked at the sunset one evening, holding her small tray of sweets. She smiled and whispered, "One day, Rahim, you will see what love and hard work can do." Her heart was full of hope, and her journey toward success had only just begun. Days passed, and Anissa's little sweet business began to grow. At first, only a few people bought from her, but word spread quickly. Her sweets were different from anything anyone in the town had tasted. They were soft, colorful, and had a unique flavor that made everyone smile. People started coming from nearby towns just to try them. Anissa worked tirelessly, waking up before sunrise to prepare the sweets and staying late into the night cleaning and organizing her small stall. Anissa's determination impressed everyone who knew her. Even though she was poor, her smile never faded. She treated her customers kindly, always asking, "Do you like it? Should I make it a little sweeter or softer?" Her care made people trust her. Soon, shop owners in the town asked her if she could supply sweets for their stores. Anissa agreed carefully, making sure she could handle the work without compromising quality. Rahim, meanwhile, was still living in the city. He had a steady job, friends, and a small apartment. He wore new clothes, ate at fancy restaurants, and enjoyed the busy life of the city. However, he often felt a quiet emptiness. He thought about his mother sometimes, but he did not realize how much she was struggling or how strong she had become. He believed she was still poor and waiting for him, but he never imagined she could be doing something extraordinary. Back in the town, Anissa had saved enough money to open a small sweet shop near the market. She painted the shop in bright colors and hung a sign with her name, Anissa's Treats. People stopped to admire the shop even before it opened. When the first day arrived, the line of customers stretched down the street. Anissa's heart beat fast, but she smiled at everyone, handing out sweets with care. By the end of the day, she had earned more money than she ever thought possible. Anissa's success continued to grow. She hired 2 young helpers from the town to assist her. She taught them how to make the sweets, how to mix ingredients carefully, and how to treat customers with respect. She believed that kindness and honesty were as important as hard work. The helpers loved learning from her because she treated them like family. The small shop became a favorite place for children and adults alike. One afternoon, a man named Mr. Ahmed visited Anissa's shop. He was a businessman from the city, looking for new ideas to start his own food company. He tasted Anissa's sweets and was amazed. "These are incredible," he said. "I have never tasted anything like this. Have you ever thought of selling them in other cities?" Anissa shook her head. She had never imagined her little sweets could reach so far. Mr. Ahmed smiled and said, "If you are willing, I can help you expand. Together, we can make this a big business." Anissa felt nervous at first. The idea of expanding to the city seemed huge and frightening. But she remembered the notebook she had found months ago and how determination had brought her this far. She agreed to work with Mr. Ahmed. Together, they planned carefully. Anissa learned about packaging, delivery, and selling in larger stores. She also learned how to manage money wisely. Her mind, which once only thought about survival, now thought about growth, dreams, and possibilities. As months passed, Anissa's sweets reached more towns and cities. People called her to ask for orders for weddings, parties, and festivals. Anissa's small business grew into a well-known brand. She even hired a manager to help run the shop, while she focused on creating new recipes. Her life changed completely. From the small, poor house at the edge of the town, Anissa had built something remarkable with her own hands and heart. Rahim, meanwhile, continued to live in the city, unaware of his mother's success. He often complained to friends about how life in the city was stressful. He worked hard but felt that something was missing. He wanted recognition and wealth, but he did not understand the meaning of true success. Meanwhile, his mother, the woman he had left behind, had quietly achieved what many people only dream of. One evening, Anissa received a large order from a city store that wanted her sweets in hundreds of packages. She worked late into the night with her helpers, carefully preparing each sweet. She thought of her son, Rahim, while working. "One day he will see," she whispered. "One day, he will understand that hard work and love can change life." The next morning, the shop was full of customers. Some came early just to taste her sweets, and others came to place big orders. Anissa smiled as she served everyone. Her heart was proud, not just because of money, but because she had never lost hope. Every challenge, every day of hard work, every disappointment had led her here. She was not just successful. She was happy. Anissa began keeping a diary, writing about her journey, her recipes, and her dreams. She wrote about her son, too, hoping that one day he would read her words and understand the love she had always carried for him. Her life had changed, but her heart remained full of love and care. Little did Rahim know, his mother's small beginnings and her determination were leading her to a future that would surprise him completely. From a poor woman struggling in a small town, Anissa was now on the path to becoming a millionaire. And the day would come when Rahim would realize that the mother he had abandoned had achieved more than he had ever imagined. Rahim was beginning to feel the pressure of city life. At first, he had enjoyed the excitement of new friends, restaurants, and shopping, but now reality was catching up. His work required long hours, and the city felt cold and busy. He missed the quiet moments from his small town, though he would never admit it. The apartment felt empty, and the happiness he had imagined in the city seemed distant. One evening, Rahim returned from work to find his small savings not enough for his monthly rent. He realized that despite earning more than he ever did in his town, life in the city was expensive. Bills, food, and transportation took nearly all his money. For the first time, he felt frustration and helplessness. He thought of his mother and the small, warm home they had shared. At that moment, he felt a pang of guilt, remembering how he had ignored her calls and avoided visiting her. Meanwhile, in the small town, Anissa's life was changing in a way she had never imagined. Her sweet shop had grown into a small business with multiple helpers, and orders were coming from different towns. People loved her sweets, and her reputation as a hardworking and kind woman was spreading. Every day, she tried new recipes and carefully improved her products. She also started thinking about packaging and delivery so that her sweets could reach even more people. One morning, Anissa received a phone call from a businessman in the city. He had tasted her sweets and wanted to place a large order for a popular store chain. This was the opportunity she had been waiting for. She smiled, her heart beating fast with excitement. She agreed to the order and immediately began preparing. With the help of her trusted assistants, she worked through the day and night, carefully packing each sweet. She thought of Rahim while working. "One day, my son will see what determination can do," she whispered. Rahim, meanwhile, was struggling to balance his life. He had a steady job, but the long hours and stress were taking a toll on him. He started thinking about starting his own business to earn more money, but he did not have a clear plan. He felt lost, unsure of which path to take. One day, he passed a small sweet shop in the city and noticed how crowded it was. People were lining up, excited to buy products that looked fresh and delicious. He paused and thought, why are so many people interested in this small shop? Can something simple really succeed here? At that moment, Rahim did not realize that the shop belonged to his mother. Anissa had sent her sweets to the city store, and her reputation was growing quickly. The small package of sweets he saw in the store was made with love and care by the woman he had abandoned. He had no idea that his mother's hard work had reached the city, touching lives in a way he could not imagine. Back in the town, Anissa continued to expand her business. She invested her earnings carefully, buying better ingredients and improving her shop. She even began planning to open another store in a nearby town. Every step she took was guided by patience, honesty, and care. She believed that wealth was not just about money but about trust, respect, and helping others. Her journey had taught her that true success comes when people recognize your effort and sincerity. One day, a young reporter came to interview Anissa for a local newspaper. The reporter asked, "How did you become so successful starting with nothing?" Anissa smiled and replied, "Hard work, patience, and belief in yourself can turn even small beginnings into something big. Life is full of challenges, but if you face them with love and honesty, you can achieve more than you imagine." The interview was published in the next issue, and soon more people learned about her story. Customers from distant towns began calling to place large orders, and her small business continued to grow. Meanwhile, Rahim faced another challenge. His city job was demanding, and he had to compete with younger workers who had more experience. The money he earned was barely enough to save, and the excitement of city life began to fade. He realized that he had taken his mother's advice for granted. He remembered how she had always told him, "Patience and honesty will bring you success, my son." He now understood that wealth and comfort in the city were not easy to achieve. As Rahim struggled, Anissa's success continued to rise. She had become known not only for her sweets but also for her kindness and hard work. People trusted her products because they knew they were made with love and care. She had started sending her sweets to bigger stores in the city, and her small beginnings had turned into a profitable business. She even started saving to invest in a larger shop and hire more helpers. One evening, Anissa looked at the sunset from her shop's small balcony. She thought of her son, Rahim, and smiled. "I hope one day you will see what can be achieved with patience and determination," she whispered. Her heart was full of hope, and she felt proud of her journey. She had started with nothing but her hands, mind, and heart. Now, she was creating a future that would surprise everyone, including the son who had left her behind. Little did Rahim know, the life he had dreamed of in the city was about to change dramatically. He had struggled with money and work, while his mother, whom he thought he had abandoned, had quietly become successful and strong. The day would come when Rahim would realize that his mother's determination and love had created more than wealth. It had created respect, trust, and a life full of possibilities. Rahim's life in the city was becoming more difficult. Despite working long hours, he still struggled to manage his expenses. His apartment was small and plain, and he missed the warmth of his childhood home. He began to feel lonely, and the excitement he had once felt in the city faded. Every day, he saw people rushing past him on the streets, busy with their own lives, and he realized that success in the city was not easy. One afternoon, Rahim visited a small store to buy groceries. While walking past the sweets section, he noticed a familiar tray of sweets. The shape and color reminded him of the treats his mother used to make. Curious, he asked the shopkeeper, "Who makes these?" The shopkeeper smiled and said, "These are from Anissa's treats. The sweets are very popular. People come from far to buy them." Rahim froze. He could not believe what he heard. Could it be his mother? The woman he had left behind was now successful in the city? Rahim felt a mixture of surprise and guilt. He remembered the days when he had ignored her calls and avoided visiting her. He thought of all the times he had wished for a better life without understanding the sacrifices she had made. For the first time, he truly realized her strength and determination. His mother, whom he had abandoned, had achieved what he had been struggling to reach in the city. Meanwhile, Anissa continued to expand her business. Her sweets were now in multiple stores across the city, and she had hired several helpers to manage the increasing demand. She worked early in the morning and late into the night, always ensuring that her sweets were perfect and that her customers were happy. She also began mentoring other women in her town, teaching them how to make sweets and manage a small business. She believed that helping others was as important as success itself. One day, Anissa received an invitation to speak at a small business event in the city. She was nervous because she had never spoken in front of so many people, but she agreed. At the event, she shared her story with everyone. She talked about her struggles, the notebook that had inspired her, and the hard work that had changed her life. The audience listened carefully and applauded her courage and determination. Her story inspired many people to believe in themselves and never give up. Rahim, on the other hand, began thinking about his own life. Seeing his mother's success made him question his choices. He had wanted wealth and excitement, but he had ignored the values his mother had taught him. Now he realized that success was not just about money. It was about honesty, hard work, and patience. He wished he could go back in time and appreciate his mother more. A few weeks later, Rahim decided to visit his mother's shop. He wanted to see her and understand how she had achieved such success. When he entered the small shop, he saw her arranging sweets on a tray. She looked up and smiled warmly. Rahim's heart pounded. He had not expected to feel so emotional. He said quietly, "Mother, it is really you. I did not know you had become so successful." Anisa smiled and said, "Rahim, I have always believed that hard work and patience bring results. I did this for myself, but also hoping that one day you would see it too." Rahim's eyes filled with tears. He realized that despite being abandoned, his mother had never stopped loving him. She had worked quietly, building a life full of respect, love, and success. Rahim spent the day in the shop watching his mother work. He noticed how carefully she handled the sweets, how she spoke kindly to the customers, and how everyone trusted her. He began to understand that true success was not just earning money but earning respect and trust. Rahim also realized that he had been chasing a life that seemed exciting but lacked meaning. Anisa noticed the change in her son. She knew that he had learned an important lesson, but she did not scold him. She only smiled and said, "Rahim, life gives everyone a chance to grow. It is never too late to learn and improve." Rahim nodded. He felt grateful and inspired. For the first time, he wanted to work hard not just for himself but to honor the values his mother had taught him. From that day, Rahim started helping his mother in small ways. He learned the recipes, helped with packaging, and managed orders. Slowly, he began to understand the effort and love behind every sweet. He felt proud of his mother and started realizing that her guidance and patience had shaped him more than he had ever known. Anisa and Rahim worked together, and the small shop became even more successful. People admired the teamwork between mother and son, and their story inspired others in the town and the city. Rahim had finally learned the true meaning of success. It was not about wealth alone, but about love, honesty, patience, and determination. The son who once abandoned his poor mother had returned to her life, not to take advantage, but to learn from her and grow alongside her. And the mother, who had never stopped loving her son, welcomed him with an open heart, showing that true love and hard work always bring the most beautiful results. Months passed, and Anisa's sweets business became a great success. The small shop that had started with a few trays of homemade treats now had multiple branches in the town and neighboring cities. People knew her by name, and her sweets were famous for their taste, quality, and care. Orders came from faraway places, and she had hired more helpers to manage the growing business. Anisa had become a millionaire, but she remained humble and kind, never forgetting her roots. Rahim had changed completely. From a young man who had left his mother in search of wealth and status, he had become someone who understood the value of patience, honesty, and love. He worked alongside Anisa, learning not just how to make sweets, but how to manage a business with care and responsibility. He had discovered that real success was not measured by the money in your pocket alone, but by the respect and trust people gave you. One morning, Anisa received a letter from a major city store. They wanted to place a huge order for her sweets, enough to reach thousands of customers. She smiled and said, "Rahim, this is the result of all our hard work. Let us prepare and make it perfect." Rahim nodded eagerly. Together, they worked day and night, ensuring every sweet was perfect, every package carefully wrapped, and every delivery on time. The day the order was delivered, the store manager called to congratulate them. "These sweets are amazing," he said. "People cannot get enough of them. Your brand is becoming famous in the city." Anisa felt proud, but more than pride, she felt joy. She had started with nothing, worked honestly, and now her hard work had changed her life and her son's life forever. Rahim watched his mother and thought about the past. He remembered the days when he had felt ashamed of their small home, when he had left her alone to chase a life in the city. Now he realized how wrong he had been. His mother had shown him what true strength was. She had faced challenges, never complained, and used every small opportunity to build something remarkable. Rahim felt a deep sense of gratitude and love for the woman he had once abandoned. Anissa, seeing the change in her son, felt happy. She never blamed him for leaving. Instead, she welcomed him back into her life and shared her knowledge with him. She knew that everyone makes mistakes, but what mattered was learning from them. "Rahim," she said one evening, "life gives us lessons in many ways. Sometimes we learn through struggle, sometimes through love, but the important thing is to never give up." Rahim nodded, understanding her words deeply. The mother and son team continued to grow the business. They introduced new sweets, experimented with flavors, and ensured that every customer was satisfied. People loved the personal touch in their products, the care and effort that Anissa and Rahim put into everything they did. Their shop became a symbol of hard work, determination, and honesty. Many young people in the town looked up to them as an example of what could be achieved with patience and effort. One day, Rahim's friends from the city visited the town. They were amazed to see how successful his mother had become. They asked him, "Is this your mother's business? We did not know she could achieve so much." Rahim smiled and said, "Yes, this is my mother. She taught me that hard work, patience, and love can change everything. I have learned from her, and I will never forget it." His friends were inspired by his words and the story of Anissa's journey. As time passed, Anissa and Rahim continued to grow the business. They opened new stores in other cities, trained more helpers, and even started teaching other women how to start their own small businesses. Anissa believed that helping others was as important as success itself. Her life had changed completely, but she never forgot the small town, the little house, and the struggles that had shaped her journey. One evening, as the sun set behind the mountains, Anissa and Rahim stood outside their main shop. The streets were busy with customers, children laughing, and helpers preparing orders. Rahim looked at his mother and said, "Mother, I understand now. Success is not only about money. It is about love, effort, and never giving up. Thank you for teaching me this." Anissa smiled and hugged him. "Rahim, I am proud of you. Life is about learning and growing. You have learned, and together we will keep growing." The son who had abandoned his poor mother had returned, not to take advantage, but to learn, support, and grow with her. And the mother, who had faced poverty and hardship alone, had built a life of success, love, and respect. Her journey was proof that determination, patience, and honesty could change destiny. From a small, struggling house to a business empire, Anissa's life had transformed completely. She had become a millionaire, not only in wealth but in love, respect, and happiness. Rahim had learned the greatest lesson of his life, that a mother's love and hard work are priceless treasures. Together, they faced the future with hope, joy, and a bond stronger than ever. The story of Anissa and Rahim became an inspiration for everyone in the town and beyond. It showed that even in the darkest times, hope, love, and hard work could create miracles. And the most beautiful miracle of all was the love between a mother and her son, which nothing could break.